In an unprecedented alliance, the notorious Comanchero and Lone Wolf bikie clubs have forged an unholy union, orchestrating a sinister plot to flood Australian shores with tons of ice, smuggled all the way from Mexico. The audacity of this operation and the sheer volume of drugs involved reflect the sinister intentions of these bikie clubs, as they seek to capitalize on the lucrative Australian market and perpetuate the devastating impact of this illicit drug on communities nationwide. By joining hands, the Comancheros and the Lone Wolves tapped into a wider network, expanding their reach and strengthening their criminal operations. This collaboration enabled them to pool their expertise, knowledge, and connections, creating a more potent force capable of executing larger-scale criminal and illegal operations, with a common drug middleman who arranged for the drug deal and partnership. But their nefarious scheme took an unexpected turn when the authorities spoiled their malevolent plans. Aided by a tip-off from the Australian Federal Police, the Mexican law enforcement authorities intercepted the staggering drug shipment in the bustling port of Manzanillo, shattering the bikies' audacious aspirations. In this recent seizure, the two clubs were planning to import 4 tons of ice, hidden in tequila bottles from Mexico before they were seized and destroyed. Since then, Mexican authorities have ominously placed these two well-known bikie clubs squarely in their crosshairs. Mexico is home to various powerful and shadowy cartels like the Sinaloa, Guadalajara, and the Tijuana, who maintain an iron grip over Mexican drug operations. These bikie clubs act as their insidious clientele. Mexican cartels act as wholesalers to these bikie clubs, fulfilling their insatiable desire for a steady supply of illicit substances. With their vast drug production capabilities, extensive distribution networks, and control over smuggling routes, the cartels meet the relentless demand of the bikie clubs, ensuring a constant flow of drugs to fuel their criminal activities. These cartels forge strategic alliances with drug producers and then leverage their extensive networks and influence to transport these drugs in bulk quantities. Once the illicit substances reach the cartel's control, they shift gears to distribute the drugs to smaller-scale criminal organizations, like the bikies. This distribution network often extends across borders and even continents, enabling cartels to maximize their reach and profitability. In this particular instance, acting as a middleman or the drug agent, was an Australian criminal, who has established a permanent stronghold in the sun-drenched landscapes of Mexico. He is Australian fugitive, Anthony Philip Sitar, 43, a wanted man, hailing from Melbourne, whose daring escape has seen him take refuge in an idyllic beachside town within the heart of Mexico. Sitar's name became synonymous with a colossal $300 million drug haul, seized by Australian authorities in 2011, comprising of the lethal combination of ice and cocaine, marking him as a phantom on the run, for more than 10 years. Only a few hours before he was scheduled to be detained by the Australian Federal Police, he was able to flee Australia. Sitar mysteriously disappeared from the country without using his passport, and according to authorities, he has been leading a luxurious life in Latin America and has started a family. He is wanted by Australian authorities since 2011 with an outstanding warrant in place, and there is also an international Interpol Red Notice issued for him since 2012. Back in 2011, Sitar smuggled drugs disguised as Mexican Cucapa beer bottles for his business at Chapel Street, named Destino Latin Bar. Born in Albury, Australia, Sitar has now become an international drug broker, and has transcended borders to establish himself as an influential figure in the treacherous world of drug brokering, leveraging his connections in both Mexico and Australia to orchestrate lucrative deals that have yielded him staggering fortunes. The 4-ton ice haul, hidden in 11,520 bottles of tequila, would have been the one of largest drug busts in Australia's history. Police have arrested 2 Americans, and a 40-year-old Sydney man over the alleged haul. These men are possibly linked with Sitar. Between April 2022 and February this year, the group is suspected of sending a total of 375 kilograms of methamphetamine to Australia, Hong Kong, and New Zealand. The drugs were being shipped in the base of plastic pallets, with an 85-kilogram shipment noticed by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Los Angeles. According to the authorities, he is not only a drug smuggler but also a bikie associate. Although he remains at large, authorities are confident that he will eventually be caught and brought to justice. With collaborative efforts and advanced surveillance, law enforcement agencies are closing in on Sitar, determined to dismantle his criminal enterprises. Their unwavering resolve ensures that communities will be safeguarded from the devastating impact of his illicit activities. While he may have eluded capture, the ongoing manhunt instills confidence that Sitar will eventually face the consequences of his actions. Authorities from both Australia and Mexico are collaborating extensively to dismantle this sophisticated drug trafficking network. This joint endeavor serves as a powerful message to criminals involved in such activities that nations are united in their determination to protect their communities and bring those responsible to justice.